Well, hello. Let's see. Well, I'm at it again. This is my second time out in the last 3 weeks after a pretty long layoff. But anyway, I'm back out again, and it feels great. Now, contrary to the way that I like to do things, today I don't actually have an actual game plan for today. I just thought I would come out and play it by ear and see exactly what I can come up with. Well, fall has set in, and a lot of the greenery has dissipated, as you can see. A lot of brown leaves, and most of the leaves have come off the trees. There are some evergreens here that are going to add a nice little bit of contrast if I can actually find something. So hopefully I can find a halfway decent composition, and I'm going to make my way out now and see if I can find something. You know, as often happens, I decided to revisit a location that I went to once before to photograph. I was looking around and things weren't looking too promising in the areas where I was, so I decided to venture out back to some place that I was more familiar with. And of course, it's a different time of year than it was the last time I was here. And if you look right behind me, you'll see a lot of trees that have fallen over. Okay, the configuration of the trees is different from the last time that I was here. I did take one shot from this particular area. I wasn't particularly pleased with it, but I think this looks a little bit more promising. The last shot that I took was in complete overcast. Now I have some light actually filtering through the trees as the sun is getting lower to the horizon. And I'm going to go down further and see if I can arrange some sort of a composition. So I'll be back in a second. Let's see what I come up with. Okay, I have the composition set up, and I'm focusing now right for the tree, right for this large tree in the foreground. I'll get my focusing down for this. Okay. All right, I'm stopped down to F11. Actually, I'm going to go down to f-stop F16. I'd like plenty of depth of field on this. Actually, I'll go down to about f-stop 13. Okay, right now this is giving me about a half a second. That's looking pretty good there. And I think what I might do is take 2 shots. I'm getting some highlights from the sky, and I'd like to minimize that as much as possible. Let's see. All right, that's looking good there. I'm going to take this first shot. 1.3 seconds, f-stop 13s, 1/64th of a second. I'm shading the lens because I'm getting some lens flare. All right, there's shot number 1. Now I'm going to underexpose just a little bit. To compensate for the sky. And I will blend these 2 images together later in Photoshop. All right, great. Also, I was getting some pretty strong highlights on the leaves in the background. So the second exposure, that slight bit of underexposed, will compensate for that. And I think this might be a pretty good image. Well, that's 1 shot in the bag. I'm going to look around and see if I can find something else. I have my eye on something that is directly to my right. Looks like we have another tree with a fork in it, and the tree has fallen actually between, right in the middle of the fork. So I'm going to take that shot. Well, I'm going to see if I can get a decent composition first. And if so, I will go ahead and take that shot. All right, let's see what comes up. Okay, you know, as I ventured out to look for something else, right in the same area where I just took that photograph was a little hole right here. When the tree apparently fell over, it cracked open and left a bit of a hole right in the center, right here, if you can see that. Now, I've already taken the initial shot, but I'm going to take you through the steps of what I did with this. Basically, I just took just a basic composition in landscape orientation. I'm incorporating some of the moss that's right here on the tree. The moss is being illuminated by the sun, and just earlier there was a sunlight just beaming through this hole. Fortunately, I got the shot before the sun moved out of position. But actually, I think I'm going to take one more shot, and because it's still looking pretty good. I will get one shot with all of the illumination, and then one shot with everything looking rather flat and even. So my focusing is right for about midway between the tree itself, the width of the tree, on the inside of the hole. And that's where my focusing is. And just make sure everything is still in order, and it is. Okay. The light is changing somewhat. All right, I've got about 1 second at f-stop 13, ISO 64. And I'm going to take one more shot right now. Let me show you this. Getting a little bit of lens flare. Okay. All right, and that looks good as well. You know, that's one thing that I've noticed when you go to a given location. Sometimes we try and look at the big picture, and we try and look at, a nice vast landscape vista, and we tend to focus in on one particular aspect of it. And actually, in situations like this, there tend to be multiple photographs all in the same area. If you just pay attention and look, you can probably get several images all from the same area that you were shooting. The first shot, of course, was a landscape image of this entire section. And of course, and the next shot was actually on the tree that I focused for in the very first shot. And the hole and the moss was actually that subject. So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't limit yourself by looking at the big picture. Getting the big picture is great, but after you get that, look for some of the smaller, more minute things that could be present in the image. And this was a perfect example of that. Okay, it looks like I've come across my last composition for the day. I'm beginning to lose the light, but we're actually getting some pretty good light now. But because of where I'm situated, the light's going to fall down below a hill. But the light is getting warmer, and it's getting a very nice look. All right, if you look here, you can see there are a lot of fallen trees here. And there's a tree over to my right. It's actually arcing through the scene. And it's connecting to a few rotting trees that have fallen over just to the left. And if you look, there's a larger tree behind it and a portion of one directly to the side of that. So what I've done is I had something in mind, more like somewhat of an abstract. Because a lot of times what I do is I look at the geometrical shapes of trees. And if I think something has an interesting shape to it, I'll often will photograph that, and a lot of times maybe turn that into some sort of an abstract, if possible. It doesn't always work, but if I see something that might make a pretty good abstract, I tend to like to take advantage of that and take the shot. If it comes out, fine. If it doesn't work, okay, there's always next time. The first shot is going to be for the tree that's arcing over. Then I'm going to focus for the tree directly behind it. Then I will focus again for the large tree in the background. And that should give me good, nice, even focusing from the foreground into the background. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and focus for the first shot now. And all right, that's nice and sharp. Settings are 1 second, f-stop 13, ISO 64. All right, there's shot number 1. All right, that looks good. The sun is falling on this nicely. We're getting some very nice contrast between the darker areas and the lighter areas. Okay, now I'm going to focus for the tree that's directly behind it. And then, of course, all of these images will be blended together later in Photoshop. And we'll focus here. All right. All right, there's shot number 2. Then I will focus for the large tree in the background. All right. All right. That's 3 shots in the bag. I'm pretty happy with the way the things have turned out today. At first, as I said, I really did not have an agenda, so I really wasn't exactly sure about what I was going to get. But actually things turned out pretty well. So getting out is actually the hard part. Once you're out here, things tend to flow together. So I guess that's going to be it for today. Well, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to comment, like, and please subscribe if you'd like. Okay? Until next time.